In today's class, we are going to discuss about the life of Einstein after marriage and what was his contribution in the world of science. This is what we are going to read about, because in last class we read that how his schooling was done, what kind of childhood he had. So last time we left with the part when we read that Einstein went to university in Zurich to complete his higher studies. Now there he was not only attracted, he was not only interested in the field of science, he also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Mileva Merrick, whom he found to be a clever creature. Now, what happened? He was attracted to a girl whose name was Mileva Merrick. And all of us know that we get attracted to the people who have same interest like we have. So you must have seen in your classrooms also that like people create their own groups. If all are certain group, certain number of children are interested in making mischief all the time, they will form their group. If some children are interested in studying only, they will also choose their friends and form a group. So, in the same way, he was attracted to a girl who was equally intelligent as he was. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Now, Serb means, as we call people from India, Indian, as in the same way, Serb means she belonged to the country. Uh, Serbia, and she is the girl who came to Switzerland, and the reason behind her coming to this place was that there was only one university in Zurich, and it was known for giving education to women. It was one of those few universities in Europe which gave education, which gave degrees to women. So Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines. Einstein found that she was the girl who could stand beside him against the people who were not interested in art, literature, or music. Ally means a kind of companion or friend, and Philistines mean those people who are not interested in art, literature, or music. Those people in his family and at the university whom he was constantly at odds. Constantly means continuously, at odds means being against. So he was against such kind of people who didn't like art, literature, or music. And these people were there in his family also and in university also. So this girl could be a kind of support for him to stand against these people. So let us survive in which they put their affection into words, mixing science with tenderness. And you know that if you are interested in some subject, then even if you are having general talk with somebody else, you will mention few things from your subject. So same happened with these two people. When they used to write down letters, science was there, mixing of science was there in their letters. So in one letter, Einstein wrote, "How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." So Einstein wanted to do something, wanted to prove something about relativity, and he thought that if this girl, Mileva, would support him, then they are going to make a big discovery and it would be a victorious conclusion. So this could be read in one of his letters. So in eighth paragraph, now we see what happened in his life. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. He worked as a teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. Now, what happened at the age of 21? Albert Einstein didn't have any work to do. He was graduate, but he didn't have any job. Then he started working as a teaching assistant, means you can say assistant teacher, and he used to give private tuitions lessons. And then he finally got a job of technical expert in a patent office in 1902. Now let me tell you what does a patent office do. You must have heard that if some author writes a book, then he gets copyright for it. Means to claim the originality of his written work, so that nobody else can claim that he has written it. Because it sometimes happen, if somebody publishes the copy of it, and you don't have copyright of your original work, then you can't sue that person, you can't take action against that person, so you have to take a copyright for that. So in the same way, if somebody does a kind of discovery, does some invention, then he has to get the patent for it. Means he would claim that this is the invention, this is the discovery made by me only, nobody else has done it in past, and in future if somebody gives the same result by using same method as I have used, then I can take action against that person. So whatever I have done, this is new, so I want patent for that. Now what does a patent office does? It doesn't give patent to everyone. They go in their investigations, right? They find out that whatever the applicant is saying, everything is correct, and then they give a patent. So when um, in 1902, finally Einstein got a job of technical expert in patent office, where his work was to assess the people's invention. So whoever came there for getting patent on his or her invention, Einstein was supposed to assess that invention, to make everything clear that yes, this person can get patent for this thing. So Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. So this was not only one thing which Einstein was doing there. He was actually working on his own ideas also. That he was very much interested in the field of science. He is said to be have jokingly called his desk drawer at the work Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Now, he used to do his work secretly, and he was given a table chair, a kind of place where he could sit and do his technical work regarding patent and all. But he used to do his work also that was related to physics, that was related to science. And that's why a drawer of his desk was called the Bureau of Theoretical Physics, because he used to keep his readings, his theories, his paperwork in that drawer only. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Indeed, indeed means clearly, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. So, this is the very first thing which he proved, and it's his famous paper. It was about relativity, theory of relativity. where he proved that time and distance are not absolute. And whatever description is given in ninth paragraph, this is all about his, findings which he did. So his theory of relativity gave a formula which is E is equals to mc square. Now, another funny thing by Albert Einstein, which is given in the blue box. Let's read it. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. Albert Einstein. Now, listen, I think this joke is clear to everybody. If you are sitting beside your favorite person, the person whom you like, then even 2 hours seem to be having be finished in 2 minutes. And if you are in bad situation, you are waiting for somebody, you are facing some problem, then even 2 minutes seem to be like 2 hours. So this is relativity. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing the studies, but his mother was against it. Now, when Einstein was busy with physics problems, his private life was not smooth one, because as he wanted to marry Mileva, his mother was not ready. She was against this marriage, and she had two reasons for that. What are those? She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. First reason was Mileva was 3 years older than Einstein. Next reason, she was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. Now, what happened? Second reason given by Einstein's mother was that she is also equally intelligent, like equally intelligent as Einstein is. So, both will be a kind of, you can say, both will be bookworms all their lives, and she didn't want this to happen in the life of Einstein. She did not like Mileva for her brilliance. So these were the two reasons given by Einstein. So Einstein decided to marry her later. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had two sons, but a few years later, the marriage faltered. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. Now, what has happened? As we know that Mileva was equally intelligent. So, but after marriage, what happened? She was fully engrossed in her household work, and she was busy in bringing up two sons. And this was the reason she started remaining frustrated, because she was also an intellectual girl, a brainy girl who wanted to do something in her life in the field of science, and she was now becoming an unhappy housewife. She was a frustrated lady now. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. Now, what happened with both, that they kept on fighting all the time? So finally, they got divorced in 1919. And then Einstein married his cousin Elsa same year. Now, what happened after the second marriage? Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. Now, second marriage was fortunate one in his life. His personal life, means his wedding, his married life, came in harmony with. It was like totally in sync with his life, what he was going to do in the field of science, means his research work and all. So both went nicely with each other. In 1915, he had published his General Theory of Relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1990 brought proof that it was accurate. Now, what happened in 1915? He published another paper which was on general theory of relativity, and it gave a new definition to gravity. And after that, there was a solar eclipse, and it gave a proof to the world that whatever Einstein has mentioned in his paper is absolutely correct. So Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. So this is the line which says that what Einstein wanted to say. He had correctly calculated in advance that which light from fixed star would be deflected through the gravitational field of sun. So this is the theory which was given by him 1915, and then it was proved in 1919 because of solar eclipse. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. He became world famous, and his work was renowned and liked by everyone. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. He was applauded, he was praised by the press. Everywhere you could see, everyone could see his pictures, his thoughts, and whatever he has, his statements actually. So now in 14th paragraph, we will read what is his contribution in in maintaining world peace. So in this paragraph, it's given when the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, Einstein emigrated to the United States. Now, when Nazis started ruling in Germany, then Einstein emigrated means he went to United States. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. Now, after 5 years, 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission was done in Berlin, and it left with a kind of worry. Many of them had fled from fascism just as Einstein had. And now they were afraid the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. Now, these physicists who were living in America were worried because of nuclear fission discovery in Berlin because they were afraid that Nazis could drop an atomic bomb. At the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American president. Now, some colleague of Einstein motivated him to write a letter to American President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he wrote it on 2nd August 1939, in which he gave a kind of warning to President, and he said, a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with surrounding territory, some of the surrounding territory. His words did not fail to have an effect. His words were not wrong. The Americans developed the atomic bomb in a secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So Americans also developed an atomic bomb, and then what did they do? They dropped it on Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction. He was feeling very bad because of this destruction. This time he wrote a public missive. Now, this time he wrote a long letter, descriptive letter to the United Nations, where he told them, in it, he proposed the formation of a world government, not a country's government, There should be a world government to control all these wars and weapons also. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact, but over the next decade, Einstein got ever more involved in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. Now, what did Einstein do? He actually got involved in politics, and the reason for that was he wanted to put the end to arms. He was deeply sad or deeply disheartened by the destruction, so that's why he started working for peace and democracy on the international level. Now, he used his popularity as a scientist to campaign against the arms and in favor of peace. And when Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as visionary. Visionary is a person who can look beyond we all can look. Means he can look in future time. And world citizen as much as a scientific genius. He was not only a scientific genius, he also did so much work for the sake of peace, and he was in favor of no arms, no violence, and he worked a lot for peace and harmony at international level.